In the back streets of Bangalore, it sometimes seems little has changed in 150 years, when India was a jewel in the British Empire, where fortunes were made. Around a fifth of the 1.3 billion population still live on less than £2 a day, and many have been left behind by India's economic revolution. But Bangalore is now the powerhouse of India's high-tech economy, which has deftly recovered from the global recession. This Hawk military trainer was designed in the UK but manufactured under trade contracts with British Aerospace Systems right here in the city. It's this transfer of technological skills which is driving industrial growth here. The company responsible is Hindustan Aeronautics, formed just after the Second World War.
And all the structure here is manufactured from the detailed components.
The general manager in charge of production showed me one of the jet trainers. HAL signed a contract to build 66 Hawks in 2004. 24 were bought directly and flown in, while 42 were made here, so new skills could be learned.
Yeah, it's great.
So this is a Phase 3 Hawk. Yeah. So how much of this is an Indian product now, and how much is a British Aerospace product?
Every bit of the structural component of this aircraft is manufactured by HAL, right, including this wing shields, the perspex or the canopy, except the specification items or the line replaceable units like the head-up and all the indicating systems are being supplied by the British manufacturers.
Right. While we were filming, the British High Commissioner arrived to oil the wheels of the Prime Minister's scheduled visit here. Many in India believe the previous government was neglectful of this relationship, and frequent mention of controversial topics like Kashmir didn't help, they say.
I'm not sure it's been neglected. I think it's just got into maybe a little bit of a rut. It's quite a good relationship. It's not a problem relationship. But we see an opportunity to give it a new lift, some new energy, and that's what the Prime Minister's visit will do.
So why is the PM coming here? Something to do with the new £500 million contract for another 57 Hawks from British Aerospace, which has just been signed. Now, the entire fuselage and structure are made here in India. There's been a lot of technology transfer from British Aerospace over the years. But even so, the avionics packages are still bought from British firms. So the new Hawk deal is still very important for the UK.
It involves all the raw material for the aircraft, certain ground handling and ground support equipment, and all the accessories and equipment of the aircraft are bought out finished. That's what makes the thing so high, around 500 million pounds. There will be an additional 200 million with the Rolls-Royce for the engines.
India's professional classes have never had it so good, with 10% plus growth forecast for this year. Here in Delhi, the new money which came with economic liberalisation in 1991 is plain to see. The size of the camera and entourage is an indication that Britain feels it's underplayed the importance of India as a market. I mean, look at all these people around me in Delhi on a Sunday evening. This is the middle class at leisure, and the potential for British business must be huge. Not all, though, are being swept along. We went to meet some silk weavers who remain trapped in poverty. The weavers were remarkably positive about their lot, but there was no disguising this is poorly paid and hazardous work. Manjula has been working here for 3 years. She makes no complaint, happy to have a job, but she makes just £12 a week. She told me her husband makes another £15 a week as a security guard. There's rarely much on the table, but her 15-year-old daughter is at least at school. Asked about the British government's visit here, she said, "What use is it to me?"
Previous Prime Minister put a lot of...
Abhishek VERMA is one of the winners of India's economic surge. An industrialist with money and powerful political connections, he lives in some style in an affluent suburb of Delhi. His take on what India wants is a more supportive, closer geopolitical partner.
It's not just about business, it's more to build bridges with the United Kingdom to put pressure on Pakistan in a way, because the British forces are there. Britain is also a part of the aid program that goes to Pakistan, as well as Britain is the closest ally for the United States. So in a way, India wants to forge new relationships with US with UK.
Indians say they were forced to align with Russia in the 1980s after the US backed Pakistan as part of a proxy war against Soviet forces in Afghanistan. Its strategic aim now is to create closer ties with the US and the UK, and these grand schemes are central to what India wants from these talks. India presumably wants Britain to help it bolster against Pakistan and China. That's the reality, isn't it?
I must admit that that is the reality. I do think we live in a slightly dangerous neighborhood, and we need, to that extent, some help from friends across the world.
So these big geopolitical issues will certainly be on the table when the Prime Minister comes to meet your Prime Minister.
Well, I'm not a politician, so I can say yes, this will be so, but I don't think you will get any politician to say this.
That's the reality.
That is the reality.
Both governments have other concerns. Britain wants better access to the vast pool of Indian consumers. British retailers and insurance groups, for example, are desired by many, but there have been barriers to trade. The Indian government wants free access to European labour markets, which would come with a new European trade agreement close to being signed. But that flies in the face of David Cameron's recent statements about capping immigration from outside the EU. It's all sensitive stuff.
I think what Prime Minister Cameron was alluding to, or if I can read his mind, or if I can read the sentiment within the UK and in other places in Europe, is that they don't want uncontrolled immigration to happen. But generally speaking, as far as the knowledge part of it is concerned, I believe India, with its scientific resources of manpower, with its huge information technology prowess, would seek to have this kind of an advantage.
But do you see the sensitivity politically in the UK? Because in a recession, there's a rising unemployment, rising pressure on employment, you start bringing in freely highly skilled people from the Indian market into the UK. You're displacing jobs from the UK.
I think at some stage, particularly in the knowledge sector, we would strongly believe that the British government will encourage competition. Yes, to some extent jobs may be lost.
Here in Delhi, the colonial architecture is looking a bit faded. It's all being spruced up in time for the Commonwealth Games. Note the use of a British JCB digger. Overall, though, Britain's trade performance with India is slipping, and gone are the days when the British Raj lauded it over their subordinates. The UK is fast becoming the junior partner. There's plenty of new money now. These saris are £1,000 apiece. India's economy is surging ahead. The Prime Minister may wish for a new special relationship, but India has the world at its feet, and though the cultural and linguistic ties are strong, preventing a true reversal of fortunes is akin to Canute ordering the tide back.